Pleased that you all have come out to learn a little bit about me and sort of what I have, my vision for the district. My name is Dr. DeMario Strickland. I'm proud new incoming superintendent for the Mount Vernon City School District. Currently, right now, no, it's all right, you good. So I'm normal also. You know, I acknowledge, laugh, you must do that. I am currently the proud outgoing / interim superintendent for the Rochester City School District, and throughout my presentation I'll sort of explain the journey on how I got here, because you know there's probably a lot of questions and thoughts in the air and things of that nature, and I just like to provide transparency and give you what actually brought me here to Mount Vernon. All right? So while we are here tonight, I've centered my leadership story thus far around relationships, trust, alignment, and results. And I believe education is a shared responsibility between schools, family, and the community. This is how I lead. This is the way I expect individuals on cabinet to lead. I expect school leaders to lead. We are here at the service of the community, at the service of families, and we want to ensure that we make this the best district in New York State. Okay, I know that there are some trials and tribulations that are happening at the moment, but fortunately, but unfortunately, I know what trials are out there, and they are plaguing all of educators, many school districts, tight-knit and non-tight-knit, and I believe that these 4 pillars will definitely get us all moving in the right direction as a family. So who am I? This is who I sort of stand for, and I need to stop saying sort of. I realize the news done put sort of 400 times in my article. This is what I stand for, but who am I as an educator? So I was generally a good student, public school education through and through. I got my first private education after I graduated from Hutchinson Central Technical High School in Buffalo, New York. I received a full scholarship to Canisius College in Buffalo, but it's now Canisius University, and I majored in elementary education with a certification in science, in particular biology. That was a time when we graduated, we couldn't get a job as a teacher, and it landed me in good old New York City. So I lived in an old rectory with about 12 different people. I had a little room, and it was an old convent, an old rectory on 105th and Lexington. And I stayed there for 2 years. I was a volunteer teacher in Brooklyn. I taught at Brooklyn Jesuit Prep, which is in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and loved my experience. That's where I got my passion for teaching all boys. I taught all boys for 2 years. After that, I said $680 a month. Wasn't gonna cut it, especially when you're certified. Think about it, that New York City monthly pass costs about $100. Had to throw in $125 for the pot of food for the month. So I was left with a little less than $400 living in New York City. And mama don't got it like that. You know, I grew up in a single parent household. I love my mama. Yes, I'm a mama's boy, but don't get it twisted. I'm tough inside. But I love my mama. And she said, baby, you gotta get another job. So from there, I left the school on my own terms. Everything has been, for the most part, on my own terms. I left the school and went to go on and start I was a founding teacher for the St. Hope Leadership Academy, which is in Harlem. And that's on 134th between Adam Clayton and Frederick Douglass. I loved it. but that was the year I got my first female student in my class, and that was a shock. I'm not used to, little young ladies sucking their teeth at me, but I made it through, and realized that I was really in the right place, which was teaching. Teaching was my favorite job, and I think because I did it well, that opportunities continued to find me. I wasn't necessarily looking on elevation. I just was like, well, if you're gonna come in my class and observe me, then I might as well go ahead and pursue a degree in administration. So I do have 2 degrees from Fordham University. One is in curriculum and instruction, or curriculum and teaching, and then the other one is in administration and supervision. Again, loved my experience at Fordham University in the Lincoln Center. It was a great institution and really, really propelled me from where it is, where I go. All right, you a Ram too? All right, go Rams. Whoop, whoop. So really, really loved my experience, and it has prepared me for what the journey that I would have. Most of my professors all were former superintendents in the New York City Department of Education, so they prepared me very well, very, very well. I told you I was a mama's boy. Yep. So I was walking around Harlem, and I apologize in advance for saying this, walking around in Harlem, and when you're out of your city, you forget that people that live in your city might be in other places. So I saw a Bills hat. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. Apologize to you Giants and Jets fans. Sorry in advance, but I love the Bills. And I walked into a place to get a salad, and I wasn't eating many of those back then, but I walked in and Buffalo Soldier was playing. And that day I was like, it's time to go home. I knew those were signs, and I'm very faith-based, spiritual. I take signs, and I knew it was time to go home. So I went and put in my resignation. And I said, I gotta go home and see my mom, my family. I still, at that point, had my 4 grandparents. I had 2 great-grandparents, and I was like, I need to make sure that I'm there. Little did I know I would be losing a great-grandparent and 3 grandparents within the span of time that I was in Buffalo. So I believe, again, you have to walk by faith. Something told me to go back. I went back. I didn't have no job, so I had to go back to my old stomping grounds, which is my favorite place to work, and that was McDonald's. Yes, it humbled me big time. Now, I guess we have to do a convocation, and you'll get the story that I'll share on the day that I got a call for an assistant principal job. I'll tell you why I'm glad that day ended the way it did, but you're gonna have to watch that later. But I got a call to become an assistant principal in the Buffalo Public School system. Long list of schools. We had a generic posting, and I knew all of the schools, and except one of them. And guess where they put me? The one I didn't know. And I got to the school, and I heard bienvenidos a la escuela 30, and I was like, huh? Yeah, bilingual school. Little did I know that experience would prepare me for future experiences as being in the Rochester City School District as a former Deputy Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, supervising bilingual education and world languages. And believe me, I learned an immense amount about instruction of our English language learners, our students with interrupted education, our English language learners that have disabilities, and it really just prepared me to be able to lead in the Rochester City School District. Minding my business, I was able to keep things at A La Escuela 30 stable, and This is amidst many different administrative changes. It was a receivership school, and I think you probably all know receivership school. Those were priority schools more than 5 years. I had to lead one of those as an assistant principal. I was 27 at the time. Soon as I got there, the school got into receivership. That's the state lags and data, and they pluck out the principal, and they were unable to find a principal. I was the only stable thing there for 4.5 years. And I was leading a staff. A lot of them could have been my parents, but that's when I really learned about the essence of leadership and how people will follow someone who says what the vision is, okay? They will say what the vision is and actually follow it and do right by staff members. That's another part of my philosophy. I have to make sure I take care of the teachers so that they don't eat the kids. So a lot of times people get into positions like this and they say, I have to think about the kids. Actually, my responsibility is to think about those who serve under me, that I serve, and then they take care of their people, and then they take care of the people that they're supposed to serve. Even though all the decisions that I make are in the best interest for children, okay? So it's not about the adults. I want to be very clear, it's not about the adults. All decisions that I make are centered around children. And that has prepared me here. So back to the story. After my time at a la Escuela 30, School 30, minding my business, I went on a conference in Albany, and somebody was, feeling me out. It's like, and where do you work? And we need a principal. And little did you know, she was in my email box talking about, can you please come to our school? And remember, I told you, sometimes opportunities just find you. And I applied and got that job. That school was on the other side of town, right around the corner from my house, my grandma's house, who's still here with us. And I was able to lead that school, a school in receivership as well. When I started there, it was looking like lean on me. Now, or by the time I left, it was that place, literally wait list to get into a receivership school. So I want to also be very clear, and I said this at my last board meeting, because there's a notion that receivership schools are bad, and that's not the case. We all know that the formulas sometimes don't make the most sense, but you just have to play the system. A lot of schools were able to get out of receivership, and I found out why. Because they had L cohorts. And guess what I didn't have? I didn't have an L cohort. So we were getting on the track to fix that. Didn't work. I ended up we went in COVID, the year that I probably would have got out of receivership with that amazing staff that I had, and COVID happened. Once I call them babies. Someone told me I need to say children, but I say babies because we tend to adultify black and brown youth too early. Brought them back, and I was like, I can go, because people were saying, hey, we have this position in Rochester. So I was like, okay, let me see, interviewed and applied for chief of schools, which is a sort of a supervisor of a network of schools in Rochester. I started off with like 6 schools and 2 programs. After the departure of one of the chiefs of schools, we went up to 17 schools. So I had a mixture of elementary, middle, and high schools. I was supervising these individuals and really started just pouring into the leadership so that they poured into their teachers and lifting the students. And I was sitting there minding my business again, and the soup knocks on my little glass window, and he says, I need to talk to you. And I was like, oh boy. And he says, I would like you to be deputy superintendent. and that was a year and a half in. And I believe I got there because he saw the work that I was doing for that district, for our district, and wanted to bring me along to help carry on his mission. A year later, or a year and a half later, little did I know, he decided to depart. And, you know, I was really like, all right, hurry up and go on and find somebody to be superintendent so I can get back to my job as deputy. And every person that was coming in for the interviews were just falling off. And I told you I lead based on faith. And someone came in and said, it's gonna be you. It was God, I felt. It's gonna be you. And I was like, no, it's not me. I go to Wegmans, I love Wegmans. Yeah, I have one in Harrison, very big. Buy two things and you broke. But got home from Wegmans and I got a text saying, can you get on a Zoom call? And I was being asked to become interim superintendent of the Rochester City School District. So that's how I got there. Rochester, very tough place to lead, but there's passionate workers, people there that want to see the city prosper. But there's just been decades of turnover, and I just happen to be part of that turnover. Not because I did anything wrong, but it's adults, the adult behaviors. But long story short, went to Albany and sat down with now your board president and vice president, just talking in a Dunkin' Donuts. We were at lobby day. Little did I know that I wasn't gonna be asked to be the permanent superintendent in Rochester, and my application was in the pot because I applied. And they said, you have a screening for Mount Vernon. I said, I didn't apply for that. And I was like, well, I better go on ahead and try. And here we are. And I don't regret anything. And you're brought here for a reason. You have to go on faith. I told you how I've gone on faith. And I think we're going to do this together. We definitely are. So these are the things: educational leader, believer, advocate, and a listener. And again, it's all based on children. It's all based on children. I've gone through board governance, and one of the big notions or the big statements that are there is student outcomes don't change unless adult behaviors change. So if we don't change our behaviors, the children, the babies don't learn. And that's what I'm going to continue to lead. So you might come at me, people might get mad, I know it. But I'm gonna say, look at adult behaviors. That's what holds us up. It's not the children. These children don't look any different than the children in Rochester, than the children in Buffalo, than the children in Harlem. But the difference is, are the adults focusing on the outcomes, or are they focusing on the drama and the personal interactions with each other? What I bring to Mount Vernon, student-centered leadership. Yes, I talk to the students. When I go into schools, how you doing? What you learning? I want them to be able to tell me. If they can't articulate what they're learning, or they're saying, we learn math, don't tell me that, please. Tell me what you're learning about the math. I want them to be able to articulate that, but I use all those different experiences to really help support how I help our students, okay? That helps me formulate my vision or my next steps that I need to take with the children. Open communication. Transparency is all I know. If 10 children can't read, I'm not going to tell you only 5 students can't read, because when it becomes 11 possibly can't read yet, you're not going to catch me on no, you weren't transparent. So I'm big on transparency. I'm not a good liar. I can't lie. Why? Because I forget the lie that I done told you, and it's silly to lie. You know what I mean? I'd rather tell you, you don't have the opportunity. You can't do this. This is what's happening. and I will bring you along on that journey in order to show the transparency, because if something's wrong, I need your help for you to help me out. Collaborative approach, we have to work with each other, all right? It's a partnership between, I already showed you, parents, community, children, the teachers, the faith-based leaders, the city government. It's a collaboration between everyone. We don't always have to agree, but we have to keep students at the center. And if we all keep students at the center and think about how we're going to make this place better, or how we're going to, in the words of the incoming trustees, Trustee Scott, he said transformative or transform, then we have to make sure that we collaborate. And finally, data-driven decisions. I'm already diving all the way deep into the data. I've been triangulating the board meetings. I already know what I got to work with and on, because one of the things that I'm not seeing as paramount is student achievement. You can go ahead and look at the Rochester City School District's meetings in the past, and you will see a slight difference in what's happening now, in that we have meetings where we talk about student achievement. And guess what? That data isn't always, it's not pretty. But the deal is, I work with my team to say, here's the data, and this is what we have to do to move forward. This is how we're going to make progress. Our shared vision, this is what I'm hoping that we can have all together, is that every student is prepared for success in college, career, and life. So that means, every student should have the opportunity to go to college. And one of my belief systems is that we shouldn't be saying, college is not for everyone. I can't in good faith say that when I went to college. However, I want to say you have a choice of college and career, because I went to a technical high school, so I could have gone out in the industry after high school, but I chose college. Schools that are safe, welcoming, and academically excellent. For the most part, what I see, the children are doing what they're supposed to do. And I bet you I'm going to get more data that children are doing what they are supposed to do. And I will continue to be transparent and share that information as I pick that information up. Families engaged as true partners in education. Can't do it alone. I'm not one to say, hey, parent, I don't need your advice. No, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. Community, the community, this is a proud community. Now, I am officially going to be staying in Mount Vernon. My residence is in Mount Vernon, did that intentionally. And when I can tell you how proud this city is, this small but mighty city, it's like mesmerizing. But I need all that proudness to be proud of what's happening at the schools. When I was interviewing, I went to a diner. And sat down and said to my waitress, tell me, what do you like about the Mount Vernon City School District? She said, my friends didn't go there and I don't go there either. I don't want that face. That kind of hurt my heart a little bit. And I'm like, and then I'm going to apply for this place on a Sunday. But I didn't do that. I used that and thought about that as an opportunity. I said, that's what I'm going to change. Whether it be for the next person that comes in, which hopefully it'll be a little bit. They'll come in, they go sit at a diner and hear, man, that district did me well. That's what I want to hear. And that's a good test for anybody. Just go and ask, what do you like about the school system? Or what do you think? And hear what they say. We want to get the narrative to be positive. And together we can achieve more than any of us alone. That's a McDonald's slogan. Ray Kroc says, none of us are good as all of us. And I really do believe that. Here's my initial priorities, and these continue to evolve as I watch more meetings, as I dive deep into more data. It's really getting to know the community. Hence, I'm in front of you. They are live streaming as well. And I've been enjoying reading the interactions. Very positive, refreshing, and it told me that the spirit it can be a positive spirit in this community. Analyze and action plans for a successful reconfiguration. So I was able to help carry out, I helped propose the reconfiguration in the Rochester City School District where we seamlessly closed 11 schools. We opened 5 true middle schools. And I was able to lead that successful transformation into this school year. We set up open houses. We set up opportunities for teachers to come in over the summer to do great meet the teacher days and serve hot dogs and freezy pops and things of that nature so that our kids our students, our children were set up for success on day one. And it went off with a plan. That was almost 11,000 students impacted. We're a 22,000 student school district. I have a district climate survey that's out now. I understand there's another one out. I'm excited that there's over 983 almost responses. That's beautiful. That already right there told me they want something to change, and they feel that I'm going to listen, and I will. And the more data, the better. I do put this out there. I need more student voices in that. I only have the majority are from the Mount Vernon High School, which I'm really going to like that school. I already know it. It's like it reminds me of the schools I used to be a chief in Rochester. And I know that that school will be successful. Reviewing the data, student achievement, DSIP, school comprehensive education plans, that's going to be very important. Those are just things that school districts are obligated to do by New York State education. Looking at instructional frameworks and district curriculum, starting to get deep in that work. I heard the individual speak yesterday, the teacher. I triangulate data here one side because there's more sides than just one, but I still heard what is being asked for. We need to make sure that we feel that there's a collaborative approach, but that doesn't mean everybody gets to win. Remember, the people that need to win the most are the children. Intensive review of district finances. I'm leaving our city school district healthy. We passed a $1.1 billion budget, and I did not use a dollar of our reserves. So I'm leaving Rochester with $285 million in the bank. And very proud, and that is for a rainy day because you know that guy that's down in Washington, we don't know what he's gonna do. So we need to be prepared for that, and that's what I hope to bring to our district and making sure that we're really financially stable and sound as we move forward. Collective bargaining and negotiations, I definitely am aware teachers are without a contract. I'm working on settling or getting an extension for the Rochester teachers because right now we're in a crunch. We can't find teachers. So the best way to retain is to compensate them fairly. So fair contract really needs to be negotiated. A gentleman at one of the board meetings said, "Where's the good news?" I'm all about the good news. Every one bad situation, I used to tell my principals, if you have one bad situation at your school, I need you to do 5 things intentionally so that the narrative flips. And that's one of the things that I will do. It's not saying that I don't ignore or I don't hear the rough stuff, because I do. But what I need to focus on is the good news. Assessment of staffing, filling holes in the gaps, that's what every superintendent does intentionally. Building a strong, sustainable strategic plan. We built a strategic plan in the Rochester City School District the year before last. That's how we got a new vision, mission, and that same process will need to happen here. We got to know where we're going. What's the data sharing? And We got to build the brand. I'm all about the brand. I like things to be very, I call it hip. You know what I mean? Like spunky up that letterhead. Don't be so boring. And how I want them to know when Mount Vernon is coming. I want them to know when Mount Vernon is coming. And last but not least, ensure that all schools in the Mount Vernon City School District are ready to open. That's paramount. Like that, we got to open. We're about to close next week, but we got to open about how many days? 60. So we got to be ready, especially this year. I'm a systems thinker, so for this school year, really focusing on compliance, repair, and upgrade. What happens is it leads to improved processes and aligned systems. Then you get quality across the system, and then it leads to effectiveness, efficiency, and sustainability. So no, we're not going to get there right away. It's a process. And you know they say, trust the process. So here's the process. I'm doing a lot of the bottom. And you notice I don't like to discredit or discount anything that the current administration does. You just have to see what they do, and then you just build upon that in the better. You keep upgrading. That's what I call it, upgrade. If I didn't call you within 2 weeks, guess what? Next year I'm gonna make it a focus to call you within 2 days. You know what I mean? It's not saying I'm gonna get to you right away, but change is incremental. It's incremental. And this is my little triangle. This is the Dr. Cash systems thinking. So there's a few of us from Buffalo, even here in Westchester County, and we all will collaborate and think about how are we gonna really work for the children. So I was with the superintendent in Yonkers. We were principals together, and the superintendent of Greenberg. We were also colleagues as well. So I have a strong network down here. Superintendent in Peekskill, he was my former superintendent, associate superintendent when I was an assistant principal. He wanted me to be a principal. I was like, no, I don't even speak Spanish, which, I mean, I knew the curse words by then, but I still didn't know Spanish. So, but he's in Peekskill, and he's a mentor, and there's a network of about 16 of us in New York State. So I have a strong network of people that I can rely on if I'm ever in a pickle. Educational change, everything is starting with initiation, then we need to implement and begin to institutionalize. And the outcome of student learning and organization capacity is at the forefront. So it's not just about student learning, it's also about the capacity of the organization to sustain itself. Almost done, y'all. And then we're gonna start getting the questions you're gonna have the opportunity to ask. Everything is about what happens in the classroom. So you need to have a managed learning environment. And for teachers that are watching, you will see this on day one of school or whenever I get in front of you all to talk. You need to have a rigorous curriculum. We're in the process of doing a curriculum audit for the Rochester City School District. Is the curriculum guaranteed and viable for our students? Is it set up for students meeting the next generation standards? Some of the practices and things that we love, guess what, might be outdated. And we have to have a process of consistently looking at the curriculum. And every person has to have planned lessons. And you plan lessons to find out, or to think about the misconceptions that students may have to help them to help them get to the standard. Okay, everything should be about standards. And love the quote, too much of education is by chance and not by design. So kids be learning by accident sometimes. We don't need that. It needs to be designed that we know that we're gonna have outcomes. As far as transparency and accountability, I promise to be honest about our challenges and celebrate successes. To listen more than I speak. I'm speaking a lot today, but I'm still gonna listen to you all if you are gonna come up or not afraid to come up and talk. to follow through with my commitments. I'm going to be honest if I can't do it. Because I don't need nobody saying, well, you told me. No, I didn't. I did not tell you. Because I don't want to be in that predicament. You know, if I know I can commit to something, I will tell you I can commit. If I cannot commit, let me look into it, and I definitely will get back to you. And that means sometimes I'm going to say, unfortunately, I cannot commit to that. To admit when I don't know something, I don't know it, I will definitely get back to you. I am not a good BSer. Remember, I told you I'm bad at lies. All right? You can know, ooh, that boy lying. Yep, you're not going to find that with me. And then always put students first. And what I need from all of you, I need your patience. It's not going to happen overnight. And this is patience as we build relationships. We're going to get to know each other. Your honest feedback and perspectives. Your partnerships in supporting our students. It's not just the school district, it's also you. And it's not just you, it's the school district. It's all of us working together for the students. Okay? And your trust as we work together. So these are, again, this is how we get the transparency going. This is how we get the accountability going. And now I want to hear from you. You heard a lot from me. Your voice matters. What are your hopes and dreams for students? What are your concerns about our schools? I'm going to be honest. I told you I'm not good lying. I don't want to hear too much about the past. I just want to hear, where do we need to go? Okay? And yes, there's some things that I know that I have to look into. But I also have to respect and understand the decisions of where we got. You know, but if I sit here and focus on everything that happened in the past, we ain't never gonna get or be competitive with the rest of Westchester County. That's my target. Who's the best district in Westchester? Bronxville or something? No, we need to be the best district. I got a competition in Yonkers, and he knows. That's my guy. However, no, you're not gonna be outdoing me. No. Because the energy here is so positive and contagious, we could take that. And I hope he's listening. He's going to text me soon, probably mess me up. What strengths do you see in our community? How can we better support students and families? And what does success look like to you? I'm big also on KPIs, key performance indicators. What are things that we're doing to actually show that we're meeting the mark? Okay? Celebrating wins. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit here that I love, and I cannot wait to celebrate. Just things that could be real quick. Yep, that can change right quick, and guess what? We're going to highlight it. So, with that being said, that's it for me. And I want to honestly thank you all for coming. And in honor of coming, I'm giving you tomorrow off. Tomorrow you get off. You know, sleep in. I'm really proud of you. But yes, tomorrow you can stay home. But no, honestly, it's, you know, we know why tomorrow is off. Juneteenth, definitely I'm excited to, you know, drive around the city, get lost, and try to, I call it using the force to find my way back home. And y'all got it's so many hills here. And I'll be honest, I'm like scared my car gonna roll back. Like it's just real scary, you know? So with that being said, we have another microphone up here. If you have questions, if you want to discuss, I would say, you know, remember we have a viewing audience. They're gonna be looking and seeing if anyone has questions on there, thinking about feedback. Oh, there was a comment that was posted last time that said, what does it mean to put the needs of our students with disabilities first? I believe in putting the needs of our most vulnerable learners in front of everyone. Because once you hit targeted populations, in particular, Mount Vernon is a targeted district with all your schools in good standing, for now, I believe. So I'm like, why is it targeted? Because you have English language learners and students with disabilities that are not either they're not meeting the metric. They're not possibly getting all the support that they need, so we have to enhance it. And when we lift the students with disabilities and our English language learners, we lift the entire district. And it's the same way I feel about black and brown boys. And remember, I told you, the Almighty Creator takes you on this journey where you don't understand, why would I go teach our boys? Oh, because now look where we are. We have a declining death rate in black males in this country. That is concerning. And it goes back to what we do in schools. It's also how we educate them about the community. English language learners, oh yeah, a la escuela 30. What do you know? It's like all these different experiences that have prepared me to really come here and make a difference. So with that being said, I'm gonna get some water and answer your questions. And again, feel free to sleep in tomorrow, but then go out and make sure we show why we are free in a good way. So here's a microphone, or it's only, well, yes, please come up and use the microphone because I do want people to hear if online, which is first step in transparency. Dog nabbits. Sorry, I'm very normal, okay? So nobody going, this is it. So who wants to talk with me or ask a question, something that needs to be elaborated on, I'm here.
So thank you for.
Yep.
So my back is in front.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing your story. I think many of us are excited to finally have a permanent person in this position.
Sure.
So my question for you is, you talked a little bit about how you left Rochester with funds, you didn't touch the reserves. I think a challenge, and I'm a newbie in terms of my son who's 5, so he's just now coming into school. And for me, it's concerning that, Mount Vernon has a wonderful, rich educational history. I mean, there's tons of celebrities and people who come from this school district,
Yes.
right? And so how do we continue to build upon that? And so for me, it was concerning to learn about a lot of, and I'm not going to go too much into history, but a lot of the challenges between, the city, the comptroller, money use, and all of that, and kind of where we're kind of left in the school system.
Yes.
So this might sound a little bit like an interview question, but my
It's all
question
right.
is, how did you kind of tackle some challenges, and even have some examples of that led you to kind of leave the system in a place where it is going to benefit? Because I think for us, we're starting a little bit behind, and with the administration,
Yes.
there could be things that we are introduced pretty quickly that we cannot kind of, get ourselves out of. And so what are maybe some initial steps that you're thinking about, or things that you think have helped in the past when you have challenges in terms of where the funding goes, how it's matriculated, where we're going as Mount Vernon, and how we can stay stable?
Wonderful question. So very multifaceted. I'm gonna be honest, you all did the first step. And I know people do not like to hear this, and I know there is possible drama on which places closed and all that stuff, but closing schools is the first one. If you have declining enrollment, your footprint needs to match what you currently have in the district. And I know that is unsettling for individuals. I know it's unsettling. But this is an urban plight. It's happening across the United States. We were closing 11 schools. San Antonio was closing 23. So we're not an anomaly. So you're not an anomaly. You're not sort of abstained from needing to do what other urban centers are doing. Unless people have more children, because guess what? That's kind of not happening. We got a robocall coming. Mount Vernon calling, I guess. Yeah, everybody's phone rang at the same time. Who calling right now? We know we off tomorrow, Juneteenth. So we have to face that harsh reality. But the reality also is we're sending a lot of our students to outside agencies. So that's a lot of finances leaving the district. So how do we get our students back into the district? Many BOCES around the entire New York State, they don't have the capacity to service our students. They don't even have the capacity to service suburban students. It's just the teaching force is just diminishing, and we have to understand that reality. We have schools that have substitute teachers, which means not saying nothing against subs, nothing. Love anyone that wants to be in front of our children that are going to do right by our children. However, in some places, if a child has a substitute, they'll be busting down the principal's door. You know what I mean? And so what do we have to do? Also, consolidate. We have to consolidate because the resources are not there where they used to be. When I graduated university and couldn't find a job, I was like, man, I wish this was the time. I would probably have a whole different life, but this is not the time. So we have to do that. When I look line by line, which I've already started to do, you got to look at the travel. You know what I mean? You have to look at, because people love to travel. Go to a conference, come back, I'm like, what you learn? You ain't did nothing, you just went on the beach or something? No. I always think the best of our educators, I really do. However, sometimes you have to build capacity in-house. You might have to bring professional development in-house. Train the trainers, train individuals who are your leaders in schools, and then that's how you roll out professional development. It's more cost effective, and it builds capacity. It starts building your bench also. So when that principal becomes that assistant superintendent or that superintendent, that teacher or instructional coach can become the assistant principal. That assistant principal becomes a principal. That's how we get the cycle. We start to save money. And please don't get me wrong. Pilots, I know that's a weird word. Not the pilots that the city is dealing with. I'm talking about phased in approaches. Sometimes it's not good to say, everybody stop what you're doing, drop that teaching, everybody's going to use this. You have to have a phased in approach to see if what it is that you might be moving to, certain curriculum, is it going to work? And then as you start seeing results, it catches on. And then you don't spend all that money purchasing instructional supplies of stuff that you don't need. You could use that money to build your reserves so that you have money to make sure that folk get paid. And that's where we want to go. So I know that's a lot of different things, but that's what we did. And we've done a few studies also in Rochester where we're looking at pay position equity. We're looking at positions where you touch the letter P, and when you spelling popcorn, and then one other person do the other letters. How can we combine some jobs that we know that possibly don't take all day? So you have to look at the staffing. You have to. More questions, great question. I hope I answered. Yes, sir. I'm liking that outfit and them shoes. I've been getting a lot of fashion tips from these gentlemen right here, this mighty man in front of me. I'm just like, all right now. Yes, sir.
Mr. Ralph Burst, I'm the retired principal from the Nelson Mandela. Dr. Jose is out of high school, the first school in the history of the United States that was named after Nelson Mandela. When he was freed from prison, we wrote him a letter, asked him for permission. He obliged us. In the return letter, we enlarged enlarged the letter, we laminated it, it's hanging in the school right now. So when you go to Nelson Mandela School, you'll see it.
I gotta, no, why he didn't show me that? Did he show that letter?
It's hanging in the school.
Okay, I know.
Okay, my question to you is this, are you gonna implement an African-American curriculum for students ages kindergarten to 12? Because let's face it, our children don't know who they are, they don't know where they come from, and that would help them.
Very good, very good question, very fair question. I believe, and long story short, already started looking at some of the district survey results, and some people are actually bringing up, there's one extensive paragraph about how our students don't know their history. I believe not only do we need to educate students about their history, but we need to educate students about the true world history, like what really went down. One of my favorite books in university, The Lies My Teacher Told Me, fantastic book. I learned a lot of stuff. Yes, Columbus Day and things of that nature, yes. You're talking about African-American histories.
History before slavery.
History before slavery, yes, kings and queens in Africa and things of that nature. That's what it boils down to. Everyone should be learning about those things. But what I'm trying to say is we also, you know, it's the same thing. You don't want to do what they're doing to us, and you know who they are, and I'm being very targeted with my words, where we're just saying we are only going to teach this, and then you don't know how to interact with everyone in the world. So we have to do both simultaneously, and I know that's very difficult. But that's why, if you know about history curriculum, it's moving away from doing the sequential stuff, and it's becoming more thematic. So let's talk about uprisings, and then you talk about Hitler, and then you talk about probably Trump. No, true. And then you talk about all those different things, or you know, when slaves were rebelling against going over the Atlantic Ocean and things of that. You learn about that all together. You learn the thematic portions of it, and then you have students figure out how they are going to press forward or move forward through performance assessments. So it's long story short, they need to learn about African American history, Latino American and Caribbean history. They need to learn about European history. That's how do you think we're going to learn about what it means to be oppressed? I had to look at what Europeans and even what some Africans were doing to each other to learn about the history of oppression. So long story short, yes, definitely we'll do curriculum analysis around that and start integrating where we can. Because when you know who you are, you become a stronger person. More questions?
There's a question from the Facebook.
Facebook. Some of the low-hanging fruit what are some of the low-hanging fruit do you plan to tackle? Oh, so being honest, watch board meetings, and I'm waiting for like a presentation on how students are doing. You know, and not saying that it's not there, but it's not in the forefront. It's all the noise. So I'm seeing all the adult interactions, but I'm like, when I, you know, the time I hear about the students is when we're talking about their food, and I get that, because if you don't have a strong nutrition program, then guess what? The students are not going to be ready to learn, so it's important. But I'm like, I want to know what is the projected graduation rate? Or how are students, how did they do on the end of the year already? Or, you know, what are the marking period analysis? Like, how are our students, how many of them are passing all of their classes? I want to hear about those. That's one of my largest ones. I am glad we are moving to a work session format where the goal would be to talk about an academic or have an academic presentation where questions can be asked about something academic, looking at operations, you know, because remember it's about organizational capacity as well, And then talking about these resolutions and things of that nature. We also have to remember as a board and superintendent that our number one customer is watching, which are the students. The largest viewership of meetings are staff. We have to make sure we carry the image that we got our stuff together. We are all united on one focus, and that has to be children, not each other. And I know those things are going to happen. You know, there's going to be some decisions you're going to be like, Strickland, I am very mad at that decision. But I'm going to tell you, my decision-making matrix, I'm like, does it benefit children? You might not understand, but eventually you get there to understand. And sometimes we all get to the promised land, but you do it different, you do it different, you do it different, you do it different, but we all get there. But that's what it means to differentiate too in the classroom. How do we all get here? We don't have to get there the same way. We just need to get there and then help each other get there. And I'm going to help people along. So that's one of the low-hanging fruit. I almost went on workers' comp with these cords. Oh, I just didn't even start yet.
What you do the plan?
What do you plan to do to address the very expired teacher contract and boost staff morale? Well, already just kind of, I know that the teacher contract is already being worked out, worked through to try as like a high priority, so that's good news, okay? I can't be as intricately involved. I'm still not official until July 1st, but I do know that that has to be at the forefront. So I generally, as superintendent, you are not generally at the table when negotiations happening. However, I will be sure to ask for consistent updates on what's going on. In terms of teacher morale, I love visiting schools. Sometimes I'm like, superintendent, because my favorite job was being a teacher. So what I do to get my fix is I walk into schools, walk into the classrooms, talk to the children, wave at the teacher, and then talk with principals, give honest feedback. Those are the things that I like to do. So once, I just like being visible and letting people know they matter. Everyone from the custodian all the way to the assistant superintendent. Every single person matters. You will not have me come into a school and not talk to the school secretary. I know we came here after hours, and I apologize if I missed her or him, but I did show enough. She was on my bad. Please tell her my bad. I'm serious. But that's one of the things, I'm not above anyone, okay? Need to be very clear, not above anyone. And I definitely will be sure that, everyone feels appreciated. That thank you is enough, because everyone comes and tries to do their best. That has to be the intention in the head, but I won't tolerate doing harm either. So I'm not gonna let mediocrity slide, because our kids deserve everything and more. Yes, right.
Hi, my name is Elaine Singleton. I was at STEAM Academy. I want to ask a question about special ed. Please look into that department, please. And another thing, look at the special ed department with the administrators, supervisors, everyone, please. Look into your security, please.
Look into who?
Security. Like I said, my name is Elaine Singletary. I'm not going to hold you up. But one thing I know, I was used as a scapegoat. And I will be saying...
I definitely received that, Ms. Singletary. Thank you for sharing your concern. I definitely explained, I know why Mount Vernon City School District is a targeted district. Part of it is special education. So I have to look at that first, because the goal is to get Mount Vernon City School District to be a district in good standing, like all of the schools. It only makes sense. So definitely will look definitely will look and prioritize those items.
Some of us TAs and security and lunch monitors and us, I'm speaking for all of us.
Speak, absolutely.
Teachers, TAs, security,
Yes.
they ignore us.
Yeah.
Hire us, people with titles, don't know how to talk to us, a lot. So by the time you get my paperwork and anything that comes from, and I'm not trying to say because you're coming in on July 1st, I'm trying to make it in trouble for anyone in this building or any buildings at all. When I go into these buildings and I work, I look for respect out of anybody and any principals, but I have not been getting that.
Understood.
I have not been getting that going into other buildings. I would like to go back to my building where I was, at STEAM Academy, because I was used as a scapegoat. I never was there. I was in the hospital when the gentleman ran out.
Thank you.
He was going for hours.
I did hear that.
So I do want this to be said. Please look over everything. Anything comes from human services, civil services, it's me.
Yes.
It's me. A lot of stuff. Back in the past today, a urinal was given to me. A urinal. I have a lot to say about what is in me.
Got
And
it.
when I came in when I was 20 years old, I knew who was my administrator at the high school for special ed. She never cared for me. And it's all right. Thank you. Have a good night.
You have a great night as well. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. More questions? Oh, that's it? Now's your time. It's July 1. I don't know how you're going to find me. I'm going to be on a bike, rolling down hills, trying to find the next school. He's checking to see if there's any Facebook comments. There's another one. Nobody has anything else? Please.
I don't really have a question, and I think I'm loud enough to be heard. I don't have any children that are in the district now, but I am a community person. I grew up here in Mount Vernon. I know all of Mount Vernon is really a great place to be. It really is. I've had the opportunity to work out of the district, work in White Plains, listen to them complain about Mount Vernon, and I always speak up for my city.
I love it.
It's a great city.
Yes.
Two things you said as a community person that I'm glad to hear you say. One is that you are living in Mount Vernon.
Yes.
I think that when you live in the city, you are more invested in the city, and the work that you do in that city, you're making sure for your own self that you're invested in it to get a return from it.
Absolutely.
The second thing, which is most important, is you kept saying that the children are the top priority. I just want to see that all across this district, where the children are the top priority. Thank you.
And thank you for that's very nice. I appreciate it, and that's truly how I live. So same thing when I became interim superintendent of Rochester. Just an FYI, I commuted every single day from Buffalo for almost 2 years. Every single day. 1 hour. 2 hours on my day. And that's what was happening. I'm sitting in the car more than I was out of the car, eating McDonald's, Burger King, whatever's on the way, and then just sitting there gaining all the pounds. And I said, I gotta stop this. But then when I moved to Rochester, I purposely found a residence right in the city. Right in the city, a block away from one of our school buildings. So. I ain't walking to work. I told you about them hills. Them hills are for real.
Good stuff.
Listen, good stuff. Good for your legs. I told you, I left for an interview, walked to the Mount Vernon, West train station, I believe, and my legs were on fire. And that hill had to be, the top was like probably where the roof was. And I just thought I was gonna conquer it, and I'm just telling. You said get used to, I don't know if these hills gonna get used to. You know, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. Any other lasting questions? Got any more questions on Facebook? Remember, you have tomorrow off. That's my gift to everyone. Absolutely. Are we good? One? what would you have done differently than the current administration to give teachers a fair contract? I'm gonna be honest, I really can't answer that right now. I cannot answer that. All I can do is on July 1, come in and assess the situation. And I told you, one of the things I will do is to prioritize that. And then I know right after the teachers, teacher assistants, security, I know we have the administrators coming. So it's about to be on. It's on and popping, as we like to say. And I definitely know that nonetheless, because you have to be careful with negotiations, and just an FYI, I do have a certificate in human resources and business administration from the University at Buffalo, so I'm very familiar with union practices and things of that nature. I was a former union representative for the Elementary Principals Association as a Buffalo Public Schools principal, and I know what it's like to need to want to fight for a fair contract. Us elementary principals running pre-K to 8 buildings, and once again, I said pre-K to 8 buildings, unless you don't have a pre-K, then you're a pre-K to 8 building. We had 7 grades or 6 grades of accountability, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6 grades of accountability, and we're making less than high school principals. And I thought that wasn't right. And for high schools, it's 4 years. You know what I mean? 4 years, of course, you have the 4th, 5th, and 6th year graduation rate, but there's still more immediate impact for us pre-K through 8th grade principals. So I fought to make sure that elementary principals gain parity with secondary principals. And unfortunately, I didn't get to experience that because I went to Rochester, but it actually passed. All right. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna hang around here, and then I'm gonna go to bed early today. You know, go to bed. But I will be here if you just want to say hi, and don't forget, it might be people behind you. And I go to one church right now in Mount Vernon, and it's called Keep It Real Ministries. So that's what you're going to get from me. But with that being said, thank you all for taking the time to come out. I really appreciate it. Really do. All right, y'all off. Y'all good.